Hi guys, I'm Gregory Bistritsky and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've received so many questions from you guys regarding how do you sing higher, how do you sing better, how do you sing without strain, especially as you're singing up higher, how do you belt, how do you find your mixed voice, what is mixed voice, and today I'm going to talk about some of those questions. I'm really excited for today's episode because I flew all the way out to Las Vegas and I hopped on a shuttle for a couple hours where I am now in St. George, Utah, so that I could collaborate with my friend and vocal coach, Philippe Hall. He's worked professionally for over 30 years as a singer, toured in a lot of big opera houses across Europe and done some musical theater work as well. This last year he did Tony and West Side Story, did Sunset Boulevard, so I'm super excited for you guys to meet him. He's also a certified CVT teacher, so I'm super excited that you guys are going to get to hear some of the information that we'll be able to share with you today, and we'll get some of his insights. When I first met Philippe, I was hiring him as my vocal coach, and now we've known each other for over a year. And we still keep in touch and talk about voice-related things and discuss different ideas and different methodology. And I'm so excited to have him on, to have him share his experience with us. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Did you want to tell them a little bit something about yourself? I kind of introduced you, but maybe you want to add to that a little bit.
I've been singing for a long time. It's something I've been doing professionally. That means basically I pay my rent and put food on the table for my family through professional singing. And I'm really passionate about teaching. That evolved later. To be honest, when I was your age, I had no interest in teaching. I really didn't want to teach. I was only concerned about singing, and I wanted to become a professional singer. So I worked really hard. Yeah, I got different degrees. I took a lot of private coaching. I probably invested over $100,000 in my education, and I'm still educating myself today. So I want for any singer that I coach or any singer that is open to learn something, I really want to give them information so that they don't go through the same frustrations as I did. They don't waste their time like I had to. They know which teachers they can trust because there really are no secrets out there. The information's out there. If you don't have access to it, then it's kind of like walking around in the dark, without a flashlight. But if somebody gives you a flashlight, you can see where you're going, you get there faster, and it's a lot less frustrating.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to do, is help singers and colleagues all over the place, because I love singing, and I've been there, I've been frustrated, I've wasted time, and I've been really angry about it. And I felt for many years like there was one little part missing from my vocal technique, and if I could figure out what that was, then I'd just be able to unlock my full potential. Yeah. And it's really just information. So
you have to know the right information, and that's why a vocal coach can be so important to help guide you in the right direction. And otherwise you are kind of just blundering around in the dark, and you may get it, you may not get it, you may do some things right, you may do some things wrong. And then who do you trust? How do you know that the information is good? Because there's a lot of bad misinformation out there, or misunderstanding of information out there, and that kind of stuff can hold people back from making the kind of sounds and singing the way that they want to.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That's awesome. I really like that you continue to learn and grow. That's really cool. I think that should be the gold standard for vocal coaches.
It's about your attitude, and most people that become an expert in any field, outside of singing too, I think the more you learn, the more you realize that there's still so much to know. And even when I talk with some of the leading researchers in the world and leading vocal coaches in the world, vocal research and science is relatively new. Honestly, we're unlocking new possibilities because of technology. So there are so many things that we don't know. And most of vocal technique has been based on tradition. And I don't mean this disrespectfully, but sometimes I say on hearsay. I say, my vocal coach told me to do this, and he's an amazing singer, so I'm teaching you how to do it.
Right.
But where's the fact checking,
Yeah.
And now through vocal science and research, there's been a lot of fact checking on tradition, and there were a lot of great things in the bel canto tradition, the Italian school of singing. A lot of things have merit, and people did intuitively figure out some things that work great. Been singing for hundreds of years, thousands of years, and there were amazing singers before as they are today. There was a lot of value in there, but now we've had the scientific method to fact check and see how it's influencing which coordinations and functions. So we've been able to dispel a lot of myths. And I say we as a collective community, I'm not putting myself, I'm not a researcher. It's really important to your vocal scientists to all scientists, it's like, we can prove this, the other stuff we just don't know yet. And this is what we think we know today, but tomorrow we might discover that it wasn't quite right. And then we've got to be ready to move on, So I'm ready as soon as you tell me something, or there's a researcher that brings something out that is new and improves on my concept and my understanding of singing, I'm ready to move on.
That's awesome.
Because my goal is to sing better. My goal is that every singer I work with sings better. That's all people really want.
Right.
Yeah. It's the goal of what I do, and true vocal technique is to serve the singer. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I'm so on board with that. To me, you're describing, with the hearsay and the stuff, just people sticking dogmatically to a thing, and some of those things will work well for the style of singing that existed hundreds of years ago, and the classical style and stuff like that. But a lot of those techniques, they won't necessarily help the singers today if they're wanting to sing a different contemporary genre, if they want to belt higher, if they don't want to have a dark classical sound, they want to sound like stuff they hear on the radio, and they need tools to be able to do that. Not to raise their soft palate and get a big old dark sound color because they don't want to sing that way.
If you like that, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
One of the professors that I worked with during my master's degree, he's like a treasure chest of knowledge. And he used to always say, do you know how singing technique evolved? It was two guys like you and me sitting in the room. You sang and I said, that sounded good. That didn't sound so good. Do the one that sounded good. And then it was based on taste, and then you'd ask, okay, that was awesome. I want to do it. How do you do it? The guy that did it said, well, I'm feeling this, I'm thinking of this, and there's it. So a lot of it was individual. And if you have a master singer, and that master singer, an amazing international singer, says, this is what I do, then you believe that person, that's the only way, right? Well, what I've discovered is a lot of these singers, in order to improve their personal voice, they had to fix things that were individual to them.
Right.
So they believe, and there's it's true, what they had to fix made them an international star. But everybody is individual. So if those things are what you're lacking, that teacher's going to be great for you. If you're lacking other things or need to coordinate some other things, that teacher might have no clue how to help you. So that's how, vocal pedagogy, the science of teaching singing, pedagogy is just the science of teaching in my words, evolved. It's looking at, okay, not everybody has the same issues. So how do we help singers with all kinds of issues? How do we really train a voice? Because everybody's individual. So if you haven't really studied that or been trained, then all you have is what you needed to learn yourself.
Right, and that touches a little bit on what you can do versus what you can't do, and some teachers can sing a way, or a style, and then they'll try to teach other styles or other things and try to use that information that worked for that to sort of cross over into that that realm.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily, they don't go together. If you're singing really well singing classical, and then you try to take everything that you're doing with classical and you try to carry that over to rock singing, you're gonna maybe have some problems. And as a teacher, I think you see a lot of other teachers really give information that it's just not suitable for that genre. It worked for them, it worked for that, and then it just doesn't go. So what I took away is the teacher needs to mold to the student. Right. They need to adapt to what does the singer want to do, and how can I help them with their specific needs. So that's awesome.
It's all about you.
Yeah.
It's all about you. It's what you need. So every approach has to be individualized, because every individual needs different things. Of course, I like to say the voice is, and this is the truth, it's a biomechanical instrument. It's inside of you, but it is designed to work one way. If you ask it to do something that's outside of its design specifications, it won't work. Then your other parts of the body try and compensate, like singers going, ah! and they get tension in other parts of their body. It's simply the body trying to compensate for what you're asking the voice to do that's outside of its what it's built to do.
Yep.
So if you understand how your voice works and what it's designed, how it works and what it's designed to do, then you're asking the body to do something that's natural, and then the body will readjust, relax, and you get rid of so many problems. It's very liberating.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. And you know what's cool is that you're a CVT, authorized teacher, and that's really cool. I've had a lot of great experience, learning CVT, because I got basically awesome tools to look at the voice a certain way and say, okay, I can put these sounds into these categories and these sounds into these categories, and then I get some useful ways to understand how do I produce that. And especially starting out as a singer that doesn't know the full capabilities of their voice, that can't do the four modes, just can't replicate them. Just learning those four things is great, because now you have four different positions that you can navigate to, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And that already is kind of ahead of some other ways of looking at the voice, where it's like, oh no, it's just, my voice does this, and that's how I, do it. It's like, no, it's a choice. And I love that. I like that. I like when technique is framed as actions that you're doing. If something is going right or something is going wrong, that's because you're thinking of doing it right, and you're doing it, your thinking process is good, and then your actions are good, and then we can take a look at what are those actions. So I really, really like that about CVT, and I'm super excited that you can share some of that info with us too.
Yeah, and I pick up on the word action because I'm busy creating a course and writing a book, and singing. I talk about the activities of singing. Singing is an action. It's emotion. So if the motion stops, there is no sound production. So
and for the people out there that don't know why, could you maybe explain a little bit about how the voice is created with motion?
Absolutely. So your instrument is an instrument. If you have a trumpet, it has a fixed shape. You create a buzz in the mouthpiece. The sound goes through the shape of the trumpet and comes out, and it will always sound like a trumpet. Always. You can learn how to play it and better, and it can sound better, but it's still going to sound like a trumpet. You can use a mute to soften it down and mix up the sound, but it's still going to sound like a trumpet, always, because it's a fixed shape. And our voice is not a fixed shape. It moves, and it needs to be able to move continually, creating different shapes. Creating different shapes and settings in your vocal tract. You have a lot of moving parts, and that's the key. They got to stay in motion. The basis, though, is that airflow coming out of your lungs flows through your vocal folds. They begin to oscillate, vibrate, pulsate, whatever word you want to use, doing this pretty butterfly wave form. And that creates the sound wave. So if there's no air going through your vocal folds, there's no sound wave. So you have no sound. You can't speak, you can't talk. So the entire process of speaking and singing is motion. It's an activity. When we're speaking, we don't always continue making sound the entire time. There are some languages where you do this, but in English is a kind of a Germanic language. It's a Germanic language. German does more of the glottal stops between each word, so the words are very separated. And English rolls through it a lot more, but we have things like when we say, do you want to go up to the mountain? Have you seen it?
Yep.
We don't finish the consonants, and this is called a glottal stop. That means that your vocal folds are actually closing and stopping the air.
No motion.
To create no motion. So now if you're singing a song and you say, I saw it on a mountain, you're stopping your sound. You're actually closing the vocal folds during your phrase. The motion's stopped, the singing stops. So there are techniques. You just want to keep the voice in motion.
I've heard some people describe this as you keep the air moving. Even if you've got and then the air keeps going out of you, and you stop it because you're gonna start tightening. And even if you do the first couple of phrases that way, because I'm sure some of you out there will be trying this right now, but if you do the first couple of phrases of the song or whatever, however you're using your voice, you may not start to feel it as much, but as you start going more parts of the song, you start singing longer and longer, you're going to feel that buildup of that over and over again in your throat and in your neck, and just engaging, I guess you would call it, I call it compensatory strategies. It's like now you're having to, tense or do other weird things because you're not relaxed while you're singing like you were at the start. You've stopped so much over and over again. You kept doing that that you just kind of built up that tension?
So like the body, the brain controls your singing. There are way too many moving parts, including the airflow, the rate of the airflow, for us to manually control it. And besides, the vocal folds are about, 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters long. So imagine you've got this tiny little thing, you've got to stretch it to the exact length and make it stiff for the exact length for a pitch. Then you've got to put your vocal tract in the vowel shape, and your tongue, and your lips, and get the right airflow. There's no way you could control that, even if you had 10 people doing all the little parts at the same time.
Super complex, yeah.
It doesn't work, so it's really controlled at almost this unconscious level. The brain knows how to ask the body to do it. So that's really important for me, is everything I do, I want to help people trigger this instinctive, natural vocal production, because if you're going against it, it's hard, and it's not going to work out.
Yeah, and to sort of plug into a little bit of the CVT terminology here, as an example of going against it would be like trying to take a metallic setting and add air to that.
Yeah.
Which some people do try to do. And that can be, really harmful and dangerous. And that's asking your voice to do something that doesn't work. And maybe you could explain a little bit about the metallic setting, but
yeah, sure.
It's a little like if you're trying to belt and be loud, and then you try to add like an airiness to that. Intuitively, like I just kind of shudder at imagining what that sounds like.
So a metallic setting, my speaking voice right now has a metallic quality to it. It's been called the ping, the ring in people's voice, resonance, but you can hear my speaking voice.
Squealo. Even
though I have a little bit of allergies going on, you can hear, the squillo is the word in Italian, the chiaro, but you have metal, and men speak in metal, or in CVT terms, the vocal setting, the mode overdrive. I'm talking to a small child, come here, honey, or a dog, hey boy. Then we change the setting, and then the metal goes away. So I'm talking nicely and quietly, and I start turning up the volume of my voice. Then you hear a change in the vocal quality, and now I'm going back soft, and this metallic character goes away. In order to do that, your vocal folds, they're staying together longer. So they have a longer closure phase, a quick opening, and right back. When you're talking with a softer voice, or a head voice, some people call it, or whispering, then your vocal folds are touching quickly, apart for a long time. So if they're touching quickly and apart for a long time, there's plenty of room for air to go through without interrupting that closure. In a metallic setting, they're trying to close. They need to close to create that metallic character, like this. All right, my voice needs to close. Now if I start adding air to that, then the vocal folds just start freaking out, because their job is to close, and you're forcing air through your instrument, which is prohibiting them from closing, and you keep demanding them to close. Basically, they can't vibrate regularly. They start smacking against each other. That can lead to vocal trauma, injury, hoarseness. That's like the cycle of vocal death. Well, the good news is that this cycle can be reversed. You just simply have to know how to, don't do it. Don't add, breathiness is great, it's a great effect, but it's a low volume effect for a certain vocal setting. It's not for loud, high volume vocal setting.
So maybe we should get into a little bit of the specifics of some of the questions.
You said CVT's helped you a lot, and CVT is very singer friendly. That's its design.
Yeah, that's why I love it.
It's not, I think it's important the more you can learn about how your biomechanical instrument is designed and how to use it, the greater control you're going to have. But it also needs to make sense for a singer, and some approaches make less sense for a singer than others, and CVT is very singer friendly.
But I think, at the very least, just knowing, okay, there's this sound and there's this sound, I can navigate between these two things, and then you start to hear what professional singers are doing, and you go, oh wow, that sounds like that, and I like that, or I don't like that. And that, to me, just like consistently blows the minds of singers. And consistently, it's blown my mind, where I'm like, oh, wow, it feels like you will unlock superpowers, because your ears are like, I hear all these new things now. And that's really cool. And that's why I love it. And I like to expose people to, the vocal modes, and to really critically listening, because I think it requires that. You have to critically listen.
And that's also a skill that can be developed, and listening's great. You know, any good teacher is going to ask you to listen a lot. Before I decided to become an authorized CVT teacher, I was planning on writing my PhD on the fact that I believe that you use your instrument to sing any style. Because that's kind of been a hallmark of my career. I've done musical theater, I've done opera, I've done rock operas, I've done pop concerts. I've basically sung a lot of different styles because I believed it was possible. And so I wanted to get into that, and then I was in Copenhagen visiting my girlfriend at the time, my wife now. And I went over to the Complete Vocal Institute and talked with him. Also, some of my colleagues, actually some of the more successful colleagues in the musical business, had been talking about CVT. You know, I'd been exposed to it for about a year and a half. So I went and looked into it more critically and just basically decided, you know what, rather than spend time doing a PhD, I want to get an authorization in this methodology because I believed it was going to help me be a better teacher. I was really confident teaching people musical theater and opera and bridging those two gaps. But if somebody had come to me wanting to do death metal, at that point I would have said, no, don't do it, it's not healthy. Now I have clients that all we do is work on growling and distortion, you know, for hours at a time. So I got what I wanted out of it, and they've done a lot of pioneering research in vocal effects, extreme effects, and how to do them healthily. That's the key. Also refining what belting is. You know, looking at belting and classical singing and finding out, okay, what are these things? How are these sounds made? Categorizing them, making it more accessible for a singer. So they've done a lot of valuable work. They've developed excellent teaching methods that really help singers. So if you're talking about the CVT modes, you also need to realize that part of the frustration of singers and singing teachers and researchers out there is finding a common language. You know, this can be very frustrating. You've got, you know, head voice, voix mixte, falsetto, flageolet, mixed voice, chest voice, head register, M1, M2, M3, M4. You know, it's like everybody's coming up with a new name. People have accused, you know, CVT of doing the same thing. But they're trying to. They needed to choose a word to mean one thing, so it would be more clear for them and for their teaching style. It incorporates all these other things, but there's a lot of things that can be very confusing out there. I want to learn to belt, you know. I want to learn to mix. I want to learn this. Then it's the first thing you do as a teacher is you think, what do they mean?
And I wanted
What's that sound they mean?
And I wanted to talk about that with you because to me, you know, I started learning to sing and I had a huge focus on mixed voice. And I was like, because everybody described it as the thing I needed in order to sing higher and to do well. And because of that was like that. And then as I got better and better, I realized like that it didn't actually make sense for me to think about it that way anymore because I was like, it's just my voice. Like, why is it like a, you know, like a special part or a this or a that? And I realized like most people, in my opinion, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, describe mixed voice as basically you're just successfully singing up high. And any successful singing up high that's not just straight falsetto, you know, maybe if it's more of a full density neutral, that's also mixed, you know, even if it doesn't have the metallic sound. And they'll call that, you're successfully not singing falsetto up high, it's a mixed voice, which then leaves the sky's the limit for all the sounds because in CVT we've got all four modes could be a mix up high. And that's, you know, it's not that helpful as a singer to say if you're doing it well, it's a mix. If you're not doing it well, it's not. You know, some people think like, oh, you know, that's my voice. That's the way it is. It does this. It doesn't go high. I'm a baritone. That's my favorite.
Let's be real. There are a lot of singers that have international careers just by doing what they can do. And that can be very smart. You know, you don't have to be able to do everything to have a professional career. And if you want to learn how to do everything, it's possible. You just have to know how the instrument works, create the right sound design for the style.
That's the important part, is that if you want to, it's there. Not, it's not possible because I'm not, I'm limited by my physicality. I just can't belt, Some people, think that way, or I'm stuck at, there's all sorts of information online, like F4 is the top note of a baritone's voice or stuff like that. And it's like, you can't sing, but sorry, you get so you get to F, that's it.
Yeah.
You're done.
That's where a lot of misconceptions happen. It's good to have some notes as guidelines, Right. There are guidelines in complete vocal technique. Mm-hmm. If you're going to sing in overdrive, you got to respect the pitch limits. That's the big deal of overdrive, or the most important thing about it, and especially for you female singers that want to belt high, and if you're not in complete vocal technique or familiar with the terminology, they'll call that a chest belt usually, or a head belt. But those terms can become very confusing. So overdrive is a specific setting in your vocal tract, a specific shape, that this shape, the filter, interacts with the source, your vocal folds. And if that shape is on there, your vocal folds are going to be in a metallic setting. They're going to be closing for a longer period of time. And it has a pitch limit that you want to respect. If you make the transition then into your head belt, I'm just saying this for people out there in complete vocal technique, it's called edge. And edge has a different setting in the vocal tract, and the way that the vocal folds oscillate is also slightly different. So if you make that transition before that pitch limit, especially the female singers, you're going to access your high belt. If you don't, and that's the biggest mistake, then you'll never get there because the instrument's not designed to do it that way.
Right.
There's a lot of tricks how to get there. Valve modification is very important. So we have different tools to get there, but again, the complete vocal technique model gives you some parameters and guidelines for each sound that if you just follow those guidelines, you will get very good results very quick.
So we're already talking about, mixing and belting and that kind of, all that jazz. So maybe we should segue into singing a little bit. And
absolutely.
We can talk about applying that and talk about, what's happening in the voice as we go higher, and just kind of stop along the way and, dissect it a little bit or stuff like that. Life is a highway. Yeah, a little bit flat. And I'm gonna ride it all night long. And and so the closed vowels, those ones are hard for me in that setting. So, especially because it's like, if I open it, it's no problem. And I guess, would you call that neutral?
Nope.
No, closer edge, a little bit of metal, or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, so getting that on those closed vowels is hard without, and we've talked about this a little bit before, without that kind of, without too much kind of a hold. So that would be my struggle with this song, is because it's got a lot of consonants. Life is a highway. I'm going to write it all in those upper pitches. Yeah.
All right. So if I understand you correctly, when you're singing up there are a lot of consonants, and going for the true speaking vowels, creating problems.
Enunciate, closing to oo, e, even sometimes like I, depends.
So there's, after a certain pitch level, then speaking vowels no longer apply in singing. It depends slightly on how you want to do it, but if the louder you want to get, then you need to change your vowels slightly. And you're always welcome to modulate your vowels to make your life easier. You actually don't get points out there for singing pure vowls. You get points for singing well. Life is a highway. Did I say life? Life is a highway. Life is a highway. It's just totally uncomfortable. So I'm really changing my speaking to life is a highway.
Okay.
Life is a highway. No, you don't really hear the life is a highway. You don't hear the plosives either, because those are extra air.
Right.
And that will interrupt. So when we're getting up above a certain pitch, or we want to have a phrase that's legato or smooth, then we want to cut down always the length of the consonants, sing the vowels, like they say in Italian, and especially pay attention to your F, your H, your P, your K, anything, your S, anything that needs extra air. It's called a fricative or a voice consonant. That will interrupt this process.
Right.
So go ahead and speak it. Let's change your vowels to life.
Life
Is
is
a highway.
highway.
Yeah, life is a highway.
Life is a highway.
Now let's shrink that H down. Life is a highway.
Life is a highway. So legato, keeping the air. Yeah, moving. Yeah.
So maybe even not even worried about that H. Think, life is a highway.
Life is a highway.
Now try it. Life is a highway.
Life is a highway. I can feel it a little too much. I lost the spot I had lower. Yeah.
Yeah?
Let's try it again. Life is a highway. Life is a highway. Life is a highway. Life is a highway. Yeah.
Not bad at all. Getting better. I noticed that your is your
Close.
jaw shape's going life highway. Think life has. Open it. Just open that is. Life is.
Okay. Let's see. Life has. Life is.
There it is.
Life is a highway. Yeah.
If you get your sound design right, it works
Yeah.
immediately and every time. And that's all we need to know is how to get that sound design right. Now let's play with that sound design.
Okay.
Let's see if we can make it more of a heavier belt or a chesty
Okay.
belt.
And I know what you mean by sound design, but I don't think they might not.
Okay.
But so sound
When
design.
I say sound design, I'm referring to the shape you put your instrument in. This includes the shape of your vocal tract, it includes the amount of twang you use, it includes the tongue, your vowels, and also the shape of your mouth. Now, it can include whether you use your nasal quality or not as well. So basically, your sound design is the design of your instrument. Remember, we said a trumpet has a fixed sound design. It's a fixed shape. So your sound design is basically the shape you can put your instrument in, and that creates the sound that comes out. And that either matches your biomechanical design or it doesn't.
So what we did here with the sound design was instead of, we changed basically the vowels, which is
Yes.
the sound design. Instead of going life is, and I'm closing life is, instead of is, I'm now in life as a highway. So I've opened the vowels up and I'm going for a lot closer to edge now and trying to move
Yes.
my tract in that direction to design the sound that way to experience more efficiency and to make it all easier.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So when we're up here too, if we're changing our sound design too much, it's difficult, you know.
Yeah.
The shapes are going in and out,
Yeah.
and some things just work better on different pitches. You're getting higher, you need to keep your sound design or your shape much more consistent.
Right, because if I want to say life is a highway, I can do whatever I want to the vowels.
Exactly.
This doesn't matter. I can do E, but up high, that's going to really be much more of a struggle.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Each vowel has a very clear shape on the inside of your vocal tract. Everything in your mouth, your tongue, and your throat here, the pharynx, has a very specific shape per vowel. And some shapes simply work better for different sounds. You were looking, so we went for more of a metallic, light metallic sound, and we used the twang vowels, ah and eh. Life is a highway. Now that's just one possible sound design. So let's see if you want to make it more overdrive, you want to make it more curbing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Play around with it a bit.
Let's go with more overdrive.
All right.
Yeah.
So overdrive is a more shouty, has more shouty character, more calling. It's going to be somewhat of a bigger sound.
Yeah.
All right. And it's pretty high. Jumping in on an A in overdrive is not that easy.
yeah.
But if we take it, so two vowels help us access overdrive easily. You've got the O vowel, and it's not an O. I see. Oh, it's an O.
Yeah.
Yo. So I want you to say yo.
Yo.
And give me a big yo.
Oh.
There you can say yo.
Yo.
So yo!
Yo!
Right, so it's going to get a little bit more towards an ah.
You're right, yeah.
Yo!
Yo!
Life!
Oh, life. Yeah, I was like, what? Life!
Good. So you said what, and you might have said what too, because I'm using the overdrive O. I'm not saying life. I'm saying you're putting the O in the
Life,
word.
right,
So I'm
right.
replacing the vowel.
Yeah.
Yo! Life!
Right. Yo! Life!
And you're still going slightly to the word life.
Life.
Really trying to find the O. Yo!
Yo! Yo! Life! Life! Life!
There it is.
Yeah.
Life is our way.
It's much more shouty that way,
Yes.
yeah. Life is our way.
Bravo.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Bravo, yes.
One of the things I experience in that setting is when I'm closing and now I'm shifting the track, I'm changing the sound design. It's a lot harder in overdrive than it is in edge. So edge, it feels like there's a little more flexibility to move and my mouth around and stuff and my tongue. And in overdrive, it's like, it's like, and you really hear it, the sound shift a lot.
You did a very good job you actually did a better job keeping of your overdrive space and sound design than you did on the edge.
Ah, okay. So maybe I'm experiencing it's like better in edge because I actually shifted it.
Well, the sound is a matter of taste. And I don't know, they were both equally as healthy. You just experienced that you have more flexibility in edge up there, but you experienced that this pitch, which is very high for an overdrive, you can really only go up 1, 2 more notes, and then you're done in overdrive. So you're kind of max, and that you have less flexibility as you approach the maximum possibility of these settings.
Right.
With the edge, you still have quite a ways to go.
Right.
So you do have some more flexibility.
Okay.
You know?
Right. That makes sense, yeah.
And what we should say too is you don't have to sing in one setting all the time. Good singers don't have one sound the whole time, but they kind of have a signature sound design. You know, if Tom Jones is going to sing this song, it's going to sound different than, what are they called?
Rascal Flatts.
Rascal Flatts.
That's the guy.
Sorry,
Yeah, that's the
Rascal
guy.
Flatts. But great voice, great sound. You know, a lot of people are going to like that better than Tom Jones. But Tom Jones is going to be up there going, life is our way, yo! It's going to be a very manly yo sound.
Right. I wanted to ask you a bit because I noticed you're not doing so much of the bite with the O. And do you think that the bite is just something you can eventually take away? Because I will just go to the bite. So if I go like, especially as I'm going higher, I don't know what the last one was, but I just can't get there. If I go a little rounder, it's like I'll reduce density and I'll go more to the curbing or I'll switch in some way out of the mode.
It's a great question. And the answer is basically, the answer is the bite is a tool that's used in lots of different kinds of singing. It's an access tool, and if you're a classically trained opera singer, you learn to keep that position on the inside while your lips are doing different things. So to keep that dark sound. So a little bit more rounded lips is going to give you a darker sound.
Okay. Yeah.
A darker sound color. So the bite is going to be happening on the inside. Yeah. So but if you change it, let's just change that sound design. Yo! Life! Yo! Life! You hear the sound difference?
And so they know that's both overdrive on both those examples, just a different color.
The only thing I changed in my sound design was the shape of my mouth. And then you hear a different result. The result you prefer is the one you want, and also the one that feels best for you.
Right.
You know, there's nobody out there going, oh, he didn't do this quite right. You know, he doesn't get full points. That's just, singers like to do that. Right?
Okay.
They're all back, oh, did you hear that? He went out of overdrive. But who cares? It's all about you, the artist, and what feels best for you.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Okay. So the sort of inside bite, I feel a lot when I have the bite of this sort of tension here in the jaw. I feel like something's active, almost like I'm chewing. And so it's kind of like keeping that sensation on the inside. I'm hearing this, not this, where I lose that sensation.
If you lose that, there is some muscle activity there, a little bit of tension. Any muscle activity involves some tension.
Right.
When we talk about negative tension and constriction in singing, we're talking about the thing that limits your movement.
Yeah, I mean that healthy tension. Like if I raise my arm, it's
Right.
got tension, but I'm not struggling. You know, not
Right.
a constriction and like tense jaw. Just
Right.
something. If I do this, it's like nothing.
Okay.
If I did this, I do feel that.
Try them both. Try them. Try it. Just say yo with the rounded mouth.
Yeah, without the tension.
No.
Or with it.
It's
but
still the
rounded.
bite. So let's
Okay.
start with the bite because
Yeah.
the bite's kind of your home zone.
Right, right.
Get the bite and go yo.
Yo!
Good. Now do it again. Yo.
Yo!
Now keep that position and just round the mouth a little bit.
Yeah! Yeah?
Yeah. Say yo.
Oh, change it as I do it.
Yo.
Yo!
There you go. Now you kept the position in here. It didn't totally relax.
Right. No, I still feel it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's new to me. I don't know really. If I'm relaxing, it's not. I'll do this or something. If I'm narrating, if I'm not keeping this sort of wide mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's new to me. I'm gonna play with that.
You can play with the muscles of expression too, the zygomatic muscles, levator muscles around here. They can give focus too. Like a lot of singers will use this little muscle, like try and push your nose off your face.
Oh yeah.
So if this is active this way, it's better than, oh, what's that smell? But what's that smell is not the position one.
Yeah.
Yo! So that'll change your sound a little bit. So when you got the bite, think, You
Okay.
can try and
Right.
just activate it right there.
Yeah, I do feel that. Yeah, okay.
So that your nose doesn't go like up here somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna give that a shot. Yo! 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 Yo!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
You know, somebody purses their lips and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't approve. That's kind of coming forward, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's a
More
little
of that.
activity that you can play with
Oh.
as you go on. Just so if we keep going up this way, we lose that, and it's not a pretty picture.
Right, yeah, this.
Hi.
Yeah, smile, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's not as pretty. And actually some singers in opera they will tend to do the smile this way.
Oh.
Yo! To give it a little bit of a darker sound design and avoid, that.
Right.
But these are little tiny things. The main
Yeah.
thing that's happening is you finding the shouty thing, and we went down a
We went
bit.
down.
Yo! Yo! So when you smile, two things happen. You get a brighter sound color, and the larynx tends to rise up a little bit. Oh no! This is where so many people freak out. They're like, oh no, don't let the larynx go up.
Mm-hmm.
Your larynx is like a sail, okay, or a flag. It does move up and
Right.
down.
Right.
You can have a darker sound color by having it down, yeah.
Relative.
But don't lock it into place.
Right.
If you lock it into place, what happens? You kill the movement.
Mm-hmm. So if I go for more of the curving there, I guess I'll just give that a shot.
Yeah.
So
Show us what you understand in the curving sound.
yeah, so life is a highway. A little closer to overdrive
nice.
there, yeah.
Now, a lot of people will call that a mix.
Yes. So I think curving is actually the closest darn one to, especially in the more, let's say, above E to, let's say, around, I don't know, A flat, I don't know, A sharp or into that high C area. That one to me sounds the most mixy as to what I've associated with the word and what people tell me, like, that's mix. And,
Right.
and then if you do edge above there, you also get a sort of mixy sound, but yeah.
It was good. Can you do it again and can you make it smoother?
Yeah, so part of the problem with it is that it feels like there's sort of that progressive hold that we talked about with the consonants and that kind of stuff where it just catches up. So I'm going to give that a shot. Life is a highway.
Good. So your sound and everything is working. You're on the right path. The same symptomatic things are happening that you described. The way you're treating the consonants is interrupting basically your airflow a little bit. You're making words. Sometimes I'll say a singer, what are the words? The words are life is a highway.
Yeah.
Right? Now let's put all those sounds together and create one word. Life is a highway.
Oh, yeah, okay. Love is a highway. Life
Not bad, not bad. And you still need, twang's super important. The smile's going to be really important in curving. Yeah, and sometimes you say, put on a suffery face. Love is a highway.
Okay. Love is a highway.
Good, good. And it's much better. Can you say life is a highway?
Okay. Life is a highway.
One word. Life is a highway.
Life is a highway.
Life is a highway.
Life is a highway.
So the word is no longer life is a highway. It's life is a highway.
Life is a highway.
Now sing love is a highway.
Love is a highway. Yeah, still I cut it. Okay, I felt it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Life is a highway. Life is a highway, guys. Don't you get that? Love is a highway. Well,
Nice.
I think I went more to edge there because it feels more comfortable. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're still in reduced density. You're still in curving. Edge would just be more. Life is a highway. Yeah, that's
Right.
more. It's much more pronounced. So,
Yeah.
Love is a highway. It's
edge.
still, where's that line? Nobody's gonna come up and go, you crossed the line. There's a zone where your moving instrument transitions between.
Yeah.
So you can say, okay, was I 50% more towards, this full metallic sound, or was I, more towards reduced metallic sound?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can make your own line.
Spectrum,
and-
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
But if you want to make it more curving, put a little bit of a on it. Say, life is a highway.
Okay. Love is a highway.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Very smooth, definitely curving, definitely that sound, great.
Cool. So the next part is more challenging for me because
Okay.
this one I get live as but I'm curious on the next one. It's life is a highway. Now I'm gonna ride it all night long. And then you'll roll it my way, so I get these yols here. So give that I'm gonna try that.
Yol?
Yeah. Well, you'll. Yeah. You'll.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
Yol.
Y'all. So I give that a shot. Life is a highway. I guess I'll give
Would
that
you
part.
call this song more pop rock or more pop country?
I would say it's more pop rock because I don't hear in this song too much of a country sound from him, but sometimes he does.
Because there's a different way to say yule.
Y'all.
You say
Y'all.
yo. And if the problem with the is if you go just feel everybody practice home
Yeah.
You feel your throat just go look. Wait, don't try and sing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So reduce that sound down to 0.5%. Yo, and just say yo, try to ride it.
Yeah. Oh, you're rolling my way.
You'll roll. Is it you'll roll in my way? What are the
I
words?
think it's you'll.
You'll roll well. So if we say you'll, the problem with some of these vowels and consonants is you're on the way to the L when you start you'll.
Yeah.
So if we have that in singing you'll, all we're doing is we're starting with the open position of the sound we want, and we're gradually closing it during the length of the note. You want to avoid that. You want to keep it open, make the close like that, and back open. You're rolling my way.
So I find it sounds like you find that spot and then you try to get back to it as fast as you can.
Keep
with
it
the
there.
consonant,
Shorten the consonants down to like 0.5% of the length of the note.
Okay, so you're rolling my way.
That's right. That's
okay.
right. Now see if you get it to feel natural.
Okay. You're rolling my way.
Now you went back to this natural. So it's not going to feel natural.
Yeah.
It's going to feel foreign, right? But you got to get it to where you practice maybe lower. You're rolling my way.
You're rolling my way.
Good. And there's even a little tiny glottal stop between your it. You said it my way. It my way. In my way.
Ooh, okay. You're rolling my. Ooh, there was. Am I? Yeah, that's weird. That's weird because and I explain this to the students sometimes, it's not like English, it's Singlish. Like, you're not, it's not like you speak it at all.
Yeah.
Just to preserve that, I would never go, you'll roll it in my way. That's a weird word. You'll roll it my way.
Right.
You'll roll it my way.
Good.
My way. Yeah, that's right.
Another trick you can do is take your 2 fingers, put it between your front teeth. Don't stick your fingers all the way back, just enough to keep it apart. You're rolling my way.
You're rolling my way. Oh, that helps, yeah.
This keeps the space open. You're rolling my way.
You're rolling my way.
Then go, you're rolling my way.
Your way.
Right, no, now there were no interruptions, right?
Yeah.
One more time like that.
Your way.
Fingers out and sing.
You're my way.
Great.
And do you all still hear the consonants? Do you hear the words? Because to me it feels like
The truth is, we don't need a lot of consonants up there. You have to let, you know those puzzles where you take letters and consonants out of words, you can still read the sentence?
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
And how many of you out there don't look at the lyrics when you're listening to your favorite singers? Y'all do! You all do it, because we don't understand every word. It's just the way things are, you know? So you add, once you get that sound design, that setting, and it's comfortable, then you can add back in consonants, but only to the point where it starts messing things up again, where it starts interrupting.
Okay.
You're rolling it my way. Those were huge, giant consonants, but I was able to keep the shape.
Okay, right.
So first,
start with it.
get your sound design right, make it smooth. Then if you really want to do big consonants, add them back in little by little. But as soon as you notice it's disturbing your vocal production, you don't need it. We don't need big consonants.
Then make the audience work to fill in the gaps like
if I
those
say
puzzles.
to you, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you, Greg?
I'm good.
Yeah, you understand. You know, it's not really pretty speech, but you understand. And the ear's going to do the job. People's brains are going to translate the lack of consonants for you. You just have to trust that. They'd much rather hear your pretty voice making pretty sounds.
Right.
Or any sounds that you consider pretty. You're rolling my way! You know, it's totally different sound. Some people might
Caught me
prefer
off guard.
Yeah. You're like, oh my gosh! But, so...
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You keep what works, and then you just slowly try to tinker away. So I'll try that.
Great, and you even got a little country way in there.
Unintentional. Country, yeah.
Then
Okay.
get through it faster. Keep that sound going through the way.
Way.
You're going way. What? Way.
Way.
Wah.
Wah.
Ooh-ah. Ooh-ah.
Wah.
Now you did a W. Ooh-ah is a W. Wah.
Wah. Oh, yeah.
Wah.
Oh, I see.
You're rolling my way.
Ah, yes, okay. Way, you're my way. Right, don't stop it for the W, okay.
Yes, bravo.
Yeah,
Nice.
that feels better, yeah.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Rock on.
Cool.
Well, nice work today,
Thank you.
Greg.
Thanks.
It's nice to work with somebody that's open-minded and willing to just try some things out. You did a good job and definitely sound improved, and it's always fun working with you.
Thanks, Philippe. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Also, Philippe is in the process of producing a vocal course. It's going to be an online course, so I'll let him say a couple of things about that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, we were talking last night, talking about what motivates us and what we want to do. And as far as singing, I mentioned that kind of at the beginning of our conversation today, that I've been there. You know, I've been singing for a long time, working as a professional singer, but I've studied, I've continued to take voice lessons, and there are a lot of things that haven't always been easy, and that's really been because of a lack of information. I didn't have the information. I was trusting people that were authority figures, famous singers, professors, and it was basically a lack of information. So my main motivation in creating this course is to get information to you. And the course is called Singing Revealed. So my job is to reveal to you everything you need to know about singing. I want you to save time. I want to save you time. I want to save you frustration. I want to save you money. And if I had have had this knowledge at the beginning of my career, or even halfway through my career, I would have been ecstatic. You know, it's really, really valuable. So I'm very excited about sharing it with everybody that's interested in singing. But what I'm talking about in this course really works for singers of all ages and ability levels. And that's something fun that's going to be in the course. So I'm not just going to talk at you for a long time. I'll do that too. But I'm going to introduce you to the content. I'm going to teach you some things. And then I'm going to show you video of me coaching different singers of all ages and all styles using the same techniques. And then you can see that what I'm talking about works that fast. And that's exciting.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And they can expect to see in this course a lot of the information that we discussed here today, and then try to apply into to the songs and stuff. Cool, super duper cool.
Yeah, it's really, you can sing, like I said, your instrument's built to work one way. And if you know how it works, then it's going to work for you every time. And I firmly believe it's science. If you look, my instrument, if you take us all apart, male and female, you look at the instrument, there's some differences in size, but the construction is exactly the same. Nobody's built to sing pop singing. Nobody's built to sing classical. It's really your choice, and that's my message. You get to sing what you want to sing, and that's your choice, and I want to reveal to you how that works. All you need to know is how to design your sound to match the style of singing you want, and that's really fun. It's just really, really fun.
That's awesome. I firmly believe that as well, so that's super duper cool. Well, thank you so much.
You bet. Keep following Greg because he's a great guy. He's very entertaining. I like watching your stuff, and I'm sure we'll have the pleasure of seeing a lot more cool things.
Yeah, hope so. All right, thank you so much, guys. Stay tuned for part 2, and we'll talk about this a little bit more.